Hey, welcome back. We're here with some more Age of Empires for you. This is ranked 1v1. Done with my placement matches. We are in the Gold League. We're in rank 2 of the Gold League, and my opponent is J9265 playing as the Delhi. I believe Jay is in the Silver League, so I technically have the advantage here, if the ranking system's correct. And I'm playing as the English because we're here on Mongolian Heights, which is a hybrid water map. And we're here to do our early English aggression with longbowmen, but then get a dock down of our own, and then try to get triple TC behind that. So that's the plan. Against the Delhi, it's an okay strategy to do. If they don't pump enough horsemen and archers, then we can easily use our small longbowman and spearman ball to just kind of take control of the water and then gain a lot of food that way. We quickly get up to our 400 food and 200 gold. Really happy with how fast I got everything going. Part of that is from getting gold pretty early and not prioritizing wood, but now I'm really going to be sending villagers over to wood. Yeah, in fact, I'm going to go down to 1 villager on gold soon enough. And this is when I really want to be identifying where my opponent put their dock, if they went with a dock. So I'm going to have my scouts just kind of take a look. We're going to see if our opponent is going heavy into wood, because if we see lots of wood gathering, then that's definitely a telltale sign. But if we see food and gold being gathered, then that means they're likely aging up. And here we see 2 villagers on gold, and we still don't see any docks down along the river. We're going to skirt by through here. We're seeing lots of food being gathered, and there's the Dome of Faith. So definitely not a dock opening from my opponent. So I'm going to make some longbowmen with the idea that they're going to harass his gold or his berries. And here my forward villager gets spotted by his scout. So we're going to use our longbowmen to support her. And it looks like I'm going to try and save up for my 150 wood here, because we want to get our forward barracks down. The barracks is really going to help us defend this area, which is where we're going to put our dock and our outpost. So now we're going to try and hunt some villagers, but our opponent's pretty quick on the pull there. I'm really only looking to get maybe 5, 6 longbowmen. Looks like I go with 5 here. And then I'm going to take my foot off the gas, and we're going to start getting some spearmen, and we're also going to start putting down our other structures. So there's the immediate 2 spearmen coming out, and now we're getting down the dock. So you can see in my production I've got villagers and hardened spearmen coming out. We're looking for other soft targets with our longbowmen. We spot the scout, we're going to scare him off. Spot a villager down here. Would love to get another volley off on there. Not quite. It looks like we're going to lose a longbowman because of it. Our opponent's gathering from these sheep around his base, so he was very quick to retreat units into his town center. That's how he was able to snipe this poor longbowman here. Over here, I'm pretty happy with all the defenses that we're getting up, and now we can start making fishing ships. Really pleased with what we've got here. I really don't need any more longbowmen. We're probably just going to make the occasional spearmen to try and hold positions, but really now we can take advantage of having all these units on the map. So we're going to start burning down his buildings that he put way out here. This is a nice pickup for me. It's rare that opponents build their buildings this far out. I mean, the mining camp is always going to be near the gold, sure. It looks like he's sending villagers to try and get my scout. But my scout does spot the 3 horsemen that are coming out. So now I know I might need, a few more spearmen. So I'm going to make another here. And it's nice we're burning down this mining camp. It was halfway through specialized pick. Which, interestingly, for the Delhi, or maybe all civs, this research is preserved. So it's not like he loses out on the progress that he made on that specialized pick. And there's no resources that are lost either because all the tech is free for the deli. So it's very strange. But yeah, we're getting a little bonus building here with this house. So very excited to burn that down. And we're just going to be making fishing ships on the back end of this. We're going to get our shipwrights technology. I figured why not? If I can keep control of this water, we can start putting out hulks and carracks maybe later on to really support my military. And it's important to get a barracks back at your base. When I saw those horsemen riding around, I realized they could just sweep right around my position here and could easily harass my villagers back home. We're just going to scare them off. We've definitely got the forces to do it. And I know my opponent's probably going to be making more and more horsemen, so we're just gonna keep making spearmen for as long as we need to. You can see we're really macroing up. We're really getting economic things here. We're pretty much going for fishing boats and villagers. We are making the occasional spearmen, but we're probably going to keep them back home to defend what we have here. And I've moved more villagers over to stone. I'd like to get up to that 300 stone. And it looks like I'm also sending more villagers over to gold. I'm happy with what we've done. So now we're just going to take advantage of the areas that we've taken on the map. I'm going to send a small force out to harass my opponent. I'm not sure if this was the right move. Really, I should probably keep them here to defend this position because I'm the one who's spread out. It's my opponent who has condensed everything into their base. I'm the one who has exposed buildings. So I don't think I should have sent these troops the long way around to try to harass. I mean, we don't even know what's back here. It's kind of an unidentified spot. If I had sent my scout forward and seen maybe villagers hunting these deer or something else, then we really could have taken advantage of it. Now here's a bunch of horsemen. This is why I should have kept these troops back home. These 3 spearmen could have put in good work against these horsemen. Thankfully, we've got the arrow emplacements on this tower, and it does good damage to horsemen. I know they have decent ranged armor, but this is doing a lot of damage. You can see we'll probably snipe one right there. And we're occasionally making spearmen, which are not rallying all that great. But I'm really happy that I've been keeping spearmen at my base, because if these horsemen had just ignored this and said, oh, the tower is too annoying, we're just going to ride right past this and into my base, I would have at least had something to defend. And over here, this is what I mean. I did get a free scout of his army. He's definitely producing lots of archers as well. It just wasn't really advantageous for me. I really should have kept those units here to defend. Heck, if he had sent in his archers with his horsemen, that would have been a real problem. We probably still would have had to abandon this situation, even if I, or that area, even if I had these troops there. We're chasing his scout out, and we were able to get up our second town center. Now it's basically defend what we've got, abandon this because there's no way we can defend it, although we're gonna eke out as much food from these fishing ships as we can. I think he should really be targeting down the dock rather than the barracks, but my fishing ships are still working. They're still gathering up food. It's 30 food, and then they oh no, actually 40, and then they turn it in. Looks like we got his scout here. My longbowmen were dealing with a wolf over there, but they've successfully made it home, and it's important that I keep those longbowmen alive, because we've seen him starting to mix in archers. We've seen the archery range here. So he's burning down the dock. We're gonna still get in whatever food we can. I could maybe make a play to save it, but I'm tempted to just let it go. Yeah, I've got a lot of spearmen. We could definitely take on this force, but if his archers were nearby, it'd be a very difficult fight. Instead, I'll just let the dock be destroyed, and I'll just shuffle these fishing ships back and forth. If he's gonna just chase these, that's fine. It's buying me time. I already got a significant amount of food from this operation here. I think it was worth it. I mean, we're sitting at around 700 food, and we haven't even put down a single farm. The only food source we've really gone for are these deer. I mean, we've made a lot of food. Oh, and looks like I got some idle villagers here, not really gathering from that sheep. And as long as we keep these fishing boats alive, then it's not a complete waste of resources. I mean, yeah, these were 75 apiece, although once we got the shipwrights, they were a little cheaper. But yeah, we're just trying to keep these alive, and now I decide, okay, my opponent's taking this sacred site. I'm tired of losing these fishing ships, and I've got a force. I'm going to send them out. And on the back of all this, we'll get up our food economy. We'll put down farms, and we'll gather from these berries. So now I'm thinking, let's do what damage we can with these this military. And age up on the back of it with the King's Palace. I also decided to build a dock down here, because if I can gather from this area, then... Oh, in fact, he spots them. He thinks he'll come and put a stop to this, but this is way too many forces for him to deal with. I split a few of my melee units over to attack the archers, and these longbowmen are doing great work. Opponent reaches the castle age. I really need to get more food. Unfortunately, I'm not really making anything other than villagers right now. We're getting the wheelbarrow upgrade, that's good. But we really need to make it up to the castle age. We're dealing with his horsemen really well. It looks like a scholar randomly running past. I think maybe he was trying to take the sacred site. That or maybe the relics that are over here. But we're just gonna take them out. Still have a decently sized standing army. And now that these fishing ships are back to work, that's even more food coming in right when we need it as well. It's great that these fishing boats went back to work right when I needed to get up to 1,200 food so that I could make it to the next stage. We're dealing with some archers that made it out. And securing this sacred site with this outpost and a small wall here, that's a good idea. We get enough to age up. We're probably going to grab a lot of villagers and, yeah, get up our King's Palace. Opponent has been on Castle Age for a little bit. Let's see what he's made with it. It looks like he's made tower elephants. Oof, and ducked a lot of his villagers into his town center. So let's talk about tower elephants. They're a ranged cavalry unit, and they are not a heavy unit. I know elephants are actually heavy, but in this game they're not classified as a heavy unit, as in a heavy armor unit. So they don't actually have the heavy attribute to them. So crossbowmen do not deal bonus damage to tower elephants. Really only spearmen, who do damage against cavalry, get a bonus versus them. And I believe another good option for taking out tower elephants are these longbowmen, because they can outrange the tower elephants, and they're just decent against lighter units. And the tower war elephants actually come with a decent amount of armor on them, so longbowmen maybe aren't perfect for it, but just a hail of arrows can do a lot of damage. We're still chasing this archer around the map, but I'm noticing that relics are disappearing from the map. I think my opponent is starting to collect them, and pretty quickly. I'd like to see myself defend or collect some of these relics. I didn't realize how active my opponent was being in collecting these. In fact, we're duking it out with this knight over here, and this scholar is... Oh, he ducked away for a second, but once this knight leads my units away, he's going to cleverly use his scholar to grab that relic. This is a smart move by my opponent. My units are completely unaware of what's going on over here. And so that's another relic gone. He's gathered all of the ones on his side and one of the ones on my side. Some recent changes to Mongolian Heights. There's now 3 relics on each side of the river. So he's already yoinked one of mine. I'm getting up my own monastery to grab the relics on my own side. We've got a lot of idle villagers here. It looks like we need to make the transition to farms, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Sending a small force across the way to try to engage. I'd love to snipe this villager, and there's a lot of scholars here on the front, but I'm seeing more and more tower elephants. Man, they come with 5 ranged armor. That's wild. So they're really not meant to be targeted by longbowmen. I take that back. Longbowmen are just not the answer for them. Really, spearmen are the way to go. That, or heck, even man-at-arms, because at least man-at-arms can tank all those arrows. These spearmen, they're just going to get shredded by the arrows of the tower elephants, because they have 3 archers on top of each elephant. So if you send a handful of spearmen, the spearmen will get gunned down pretty quickly by all the archers. We're patrolling the map. We're trying to find out if there's any resource gathering going on here that we're not aware of. Fortunately, we've continued to grow our number of fishing ships. We're still taking advantage of the water, and we still haven't seen anything from our opponent on the river. And we're at 3 town centers now. So our production queue is starting to get wild. 6 villagers, we're getting some crossbowmen, some longbowmen, and we're making horsemen as well. We're kind of making just a mix of units because we're not really sure what we're going to go up against. We've seen the tower elephants, and we've seen the seen some scholars, we've seen some knights. Nice harassment here on my end. That's pretty good. We're sending in these spearmen to take out what we can, and it sounds like, yeah, I'm picking up relics off the map. But yeah, wow, look at that. He's already at his 4 relics in here. He just retreats his villagers inside. Wow, still retreating villagers inside. Over here, doing some light harassment with his archer on my food, but there's the tower elephants. They're just kind of threatening. It looks like he's positioning himself in front of my base. He wants to fight. I don't quite have all my troops gathered. I need to pull these back, gather them with this. The rest of my troops are over here burning down his mill. Oh, wow, and he sends his villagers forward again. Be great if my longbowmen, yeah, okay, they're starting to target them down. This is some big villager kills back here. Mine are actually fairly safe. We're losing a few to this, maybe 1 or 2 to this archer, but we should re-engage. Okay, he's smart to send them back, but we've got even more longbowmen here dealing damage, and we can burn down some of these houses. The big battle up here with all of these tower elephants. I mean, the tower elephants are so tanky. If we take even 1 down, it's a huge win. There's one of them. Looks like he lost a lot of knights as well, but now we're getting hit by mangonel shots. We have some horsemen. We could target down the mangonel. I don't want my ranged units engaging with the mangonel. Yeah, we're going to pull them back. We're building up our unit production, and we finally got our 2 blacksmiths down, although we really need I really need them to actually start researching. The deli get all those free research, so it's important that we keep up in terms of upgrades. Okay, there's some upgrades coming out. That's good. We're continuing to harass here, and whenever we run into some resistance, it's smart to just pull your troops. See what you can do by pulling your troops. I'm sending these longbowmen out here to see if there's any villagers that have started gathering from this clearly rich area of resources. And you can see, yeah, he's running his villagers away. So while we didn't kill any villagers, we're at least disrupting his gathering going on here. So that's good. And we can send these men-at-arms in later on. We've captured the sacred site. We've gotten our 2 relics. That's all we can really get until we destroy his, which is really in the center of his base. That's difficult. We definitely want to keep making spearmen. You can see my production queue is really popping off now. We've got 8 villagers, a bunch of spearmen, a bunch of man-at-arms, longbowmen, knights, and maybe even the occasional crossbowman. It's a lot of infantry, so his mangonels are going to do well, and I think I'm starting to realize that I need springalds at this point. The more I scout him out, the more I see a focus on siege units. With this keep down, that's good. He's going to have to bring more than mangonels to deal with that. He's going to need to bring trebuchets. And now I'm seeing lots of mangonels to deal with my archers. I think it would have been wise of him to just send one tower elephant to kill my longbowman, because by sending his whole army, I get a little preview, and we're going to start getting out spring alts, because we definitely need them to deal with all the mangonels that he's going to be making. And in the meantime, we're going to neutralize this sacred site. Anything to keep his slow, clunky army of elephants and mangonels moving around the map. The moment I realize I don't need all my troops here, I'm going to send a few around to start harassing up here. I really want to see his army moving at all times. Oh, and there they are. There's the elephants just moving around. And if we can just get these units past them, because they do move faster than the elephants. Nice. Look at that, we've managed to neutralize the sacred site, and then here's the rest of his clunky army moving around. Scholars, crossbowmen, tower elephants. Mostly we need archers and spearmen for this, longbowmen and spearmen, which is what I have, but the mangonels are going to shred my units if I'm not careful. So sure, we neutralized the sacred site, we weren't able to capture it, but he's going to have to, get his scholars on there and deal with it. In the meantime, we'll start harassing him elsewhere and basically make it so that he has to send units, more units out on the map. And we're just going to keep producing until we hit 200 population. Because if he's going to be making these very expensive, slow units, I want to just overwhelm him with numbers. Would like to see more spring alts. Just 2 is really not enough. Looks like I've got some more queued up from my keep, so that's good. But now I'm thinking if he's going to respond to this army, or maybe his army has moved somewhere else. Really, I need my scout to get eyes on where his army's at. I'm going to try and put a keep down near this sacred site and try to set up a defense. Maybe with these villagers putting down a keep, we'll be able to hold this area and then put him on a timer. I'm not too confident in this, but I'm okay with losing my army. I'm already floating a lot of resources, although not as much as my opponent. That's a lot of food and gold. I think my opponent could really be making more elephants, making more knights. But we're going to be sending our units that way, and we're going to harass him back here because we always want to be keeping his army moving. When we find some trebuchets, we're going to try and burn them down with our units here. But it looks like he's set up a keep over here, and he's just finishing up the village fortress where keeps act as town centers. We'd love to burn one of these down, but it looks like we're just not going to be successful. We do get to see what he's going for here. And we were able to we're starting to neutralize the sacred site. So it looks like we maybe got his army to end up over here. And now it's probably going to start heading this way. So as long as my forces can keep his army distracted, and we're going to come forward through the middle, that's when we start to spot his army. So now we know where he's at. That's good to know. If he wants to engage with these small troops, go for it. We'll at least be able to get this keep down. But we'll see. He sends a small group of knights forward. We get one of them. That's some good ranged attacks. He now knows there's a keep going down here, and I'm positive that his army is going to head this way, especially now that his villagers are exposed. Yeah, he's going to have to retreat. I'm at 200 population, so I'm okay. If my units die, they're just going to get completely remade. We've got 2 springalds. Oh, 3 springalds. That's good. We need those to snipe down the mangonels. I'm going to put them kind of to the back. But this is going to be a tough fight. See if we can't get a better angle here. That is a lot of elephants. The arrows just don't do anything, and the mangonels in the back are just destroying my infantry. The springalds are firing, taking out mangonels, but my archers in the back are getting completely destroyed. And now that my spearmen have been wiped out by the mangonels, he can just clean up all these ranged units because my archers just don't deal enough damage to his tower elephants. Oh, and the Mangonels are still dropping big hits on me. I'm going to retreat them back to the keep. If he wants to take this position, he's going to need trebuchets, and we're going to at least trade effectively. You can see the castle with its spring Alden placement, and it looks like I'm trying to get boiling oil, but probably going to be too late. We're at least taking out some tower elephants. These are incredibly expensive units. Just killing one can make all the difference. We've also neutralized the sacred site, so that's a victory there. He's not getting as much gold. But yeah, we lost all of our units there, and he lost barely anything. Those Mangonels are so effective. So I'm gonna try and keep him busy still. I'm gonna send another small army down here. If his army is busy up here, we're gonna try and take advantage of what's going on down here. Hopefully we can target a few buildings down. And it's nice that I've got more scouts in the mix. I definitely want to keep making scouts and keep vision of his army, because it's just going to be stomping around the map. Unfortunately, we made it to the Imperial Age. We're getting the Windguard Palace down. I figure the extra trebuchets would be nice. We can use those to take out, to slowly start to siege his base. And here's a wise decision by me. I send my cavalry out because they're just so much more mobile. Now we're seeing his elephant army coming by. We're spotting a few siege units kind of exposed over here, so I'm going to have my infantry targeted down. These archers know that this area is lost, so they're going to reposition. And so while I'm keeping him busy here, burning down his siege units, whenever I see that the battle's lost, I just have my units scatter. The knights and this scout, they're going to find, hopefully, a nice spot to harass. And yeah, you can see, this is his army. It's just tower elephants, some crossbowmen, some knights, and mangonels. They're just not very mobile. We're going to send units all over the map. We'll keep these units in reserve for when we need to harass. And these are going to go and find what we can, all while on the back end, we're remaking our army of spearmen. I'd like to see more upgrades coming out for me. Looks like we have all the level 1 upgrades. That's at least something. And now, oh, this scout, very helpful. Spots his entire army coming out. Look at how many scholars he has. 9 scholars. Those are all healing up the elephants. But we find a huge clump of villagers over here, and we just kill a bunch of them. And then I just keep one knight here and move the rest into this stealth forest. Because now I know, okay, he's setting up for this choke point here. And my fishing ships are going idle because there's just nothing to fish anymore. I would really like to see me get some carracks or maybe some hulks. Really anything to give myself a little bit of an advantage here on the water. So here come the tower elephants. Look at just how many arrows are fired. They're just taking out all of my fishing ships, which I don't really have a use for anymore. It's okay that he takes out the fishing ships. We've moved on to our farm economy. We've almost got enclosures, which is going to give us a big gold boost. We're a little low on gold. It looks like because we're kind of in between our mining spots and we haven't quite gotten enclosures yet. But it looks like it just finished up, so now we're going to get a nice trickle of gold. Wisely getting down another keep. He's in a choke point. Would love to see me engage here. Really, we want to see the mangonels come forward. Nice, we get the network of castles enhancement. We did buy the upgrade, so all of my units are attacking faster. And I'm sending my spring alts forward because I want to find his mangonels. Finally, we spot them, and we're going to start targeting them down with the spring alts. That's good. That's one mangonel down. He hasn't sent his crossbowmen in. That's another mangonel down. Now he has to back the mangonels up. Unfortunately, my spring alts are coming forward. They're just going to get shredded by these crossbowmen. But it looks like we might be able to target down maybe another. Ooh, not quite. We lost basically all of our infantry here up front, but the keep is doing good damage, and this keep is starting to fire as well. And the elephant numbers aren't quite what they used to be. The scholars are down to 5. The elephants used to be maybe at 9 or 10, and now they're only down to 3. They're just not getting healed up as fast, and this mangonel is doing great work on his crossbowman. He doesn't really have an answer to a mangonel. Yeah, we're getting big damage on his crossbowman here. And it's firing faster because it's getting the network of citadels enhancement. So everything's firing 50% faster, which is amazing for Mangonels. So I lose a lot here. Yeah, I lose the keep, but think about how many resources my opponent lost. These scholars are 75 gold apiece. The elephants are nearly 1,000 resources. I think they cost maybe 800 for the tower elephants. It's a mixture of food and gold. They're incredibly expensive. And you can see he's remade some of his army. It's mostly cavalry. Bring it on. I've got the spearmen, and now we're finally getting infantry on top of his mangonels. He's still got mangonels over here. We're gonna see if we can tank them, but these crossbowmen are doing great work on these knights, these lancers. We've got the right unit composition to deal with this, although this tower elephant's a bit of an issue. This is just non-stop battling on this choke point. And the choke point is to my opponent's advantage because with his mangonels, it's the perfect composition for dealing with massed units like in a small area. But it's also to my advantage because he can't send all of his units across, and my springalds can kind of stay on the other side of the river sniping down mangonels when we see them. In fact, here it is again. A springald coming forward, he doesn't have the units to deal with it, and it can slowly start sniping everything down. Now that it's kind of near the tail end of the battle and just our siege units are alive, it's really nice to have springalds come out to the front line, kind of towards the end, sort of limping into the battle because they can start to clean up a lot of this siege. He has 4 trebuchets here, and he's just left them behind. So we're going to use this springald to snipe down as much as we can. They do great damage. Yeah, we're getting another. I think I'm just building them from the siege workshop. Yeah. This is huge for me. These are all expensive units as well. He's really left behind his most expensive units rather than retreating them. And that's kind of a difference between our playstyles. When I see myself losing units, I either decide to lose them all or scatter them. And I think my opponent thought maybe they were safe under this keep, but the springalds just did great work. I'm really glad that I'm continuing to make springalds. I've probably made 7 or 8 this game so far, and even that's not enough. I wish I had made even more than that. My opponent still hasn't secured this sacred site. That's huge. That's more gold income not going his way. We've hit 92 villagers. I think we lost a good chunk when this keep went down. I'd like to see myself get just a few more. Maybe get, yeah, okay, good. 11 villagers in the queue. And now 2 carracks are coming out. These are good warships. They'll gun down structures and units. I'm sending these springalds forward because I'm not scared anymore. If he wants to send his troops forward, then I'm just going to send my whole army in. There's no more mangonels. And with the Windguard Palace, fortunately, I've queued up a decent amount at the Windguard. It's producing these little unit bundles. Man-at-Arms, Spearman, Trebuchet, Longbowman, Knight. I mean, these little bundles of units are getting really helpful. I love how many trebuchets we're getting. So we're tearing down the keeps. These keeps serve as town centers. You can see he actually puts like, this is pretty clever. He puts farms around the keep. I really like that. I'm not sure if I've seen many Delhi players do that before in my games. But now I'm gonna spread my army out. Keep most of my units with the springalds, but smaller forces will send across the map. And these carracks I'd like to have move out a little more too. Look at the range on them. I mean, if there's anything along the river, it's gonna get gunned down. So we're gonna use these trebs to take out this keep. We're gonna use our forces on the front line to just do battle with whatever units he has available. I believe we've gotten, no, we're researching the volley option. Ooh, would love to get these villagers. Well, in the meantime, we're just duking it out with his units over here. Love to see me get more upgrades from the blacksmith. Looks like we got a decent chunk of the level 2 upgrades, so that's good. We're just battling it out. You'll notice, yeah, he's still making elephants. He's still making scholars to try and deal with my units. But now I'm sending such a variety at him, including these siege units, which are doing great work. We've almost taken out this keep. It looks like, yeah, his villagers have made a run for it. And this Carrick is now working on his farms. Oh, look at that. Even sending it. Oh, the broadside from those cannons is so good. Look at that. It's just ripping apart the units. We'll see how good they do against these elephants in a moment here once it turns its attention to them. But yeah, he didn't like what he was seeing, and he just couldn't get his elephant ball to really get back to where it once was. And so he taps out. It was a great game, and I'm hoping to see more like that from my ranked games. Catch you next time.